Alright, guys. The first part, it says write each as 8%, round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So once we have a decimal, and we want to write it as a percent, all we do is move the decimal 2 places to the right. What I have round to the nearest percent means run it to one decimal place, in case there's too many decimals to finish with. So once again, let me move it 2 places to the right. So I'm going to finish with 0.9%. So again, round to the nearest tenth is keep it one decimal place just in case there's too many. Move it only 2 places to the left. To the right. Looking at question number 2. Let me move this up right there. Look at question number 2. Move it 2 places to the right, and we'll finish with 13%. It's fine if we don't have a decimal, right? In this case, we don't. So, any questions for the first 10? Four? All right. Looking at number 4, move it 2 places to the right. So in this case, let me add a 0 to be able to move it. So move it 2 places, and I'm going to call this 30%. We're good now? Any questions for the first 10? 6. All right. Looking at question number 6, move it 2 places to the right, and we're going to finish with 351%. Okay, so I'll let you guys work on the first 10 on your own. Let's take a look at number 11. Instructions on this one are write each as a fraction. So what we're going to do for a fraction, first of all, let me write the number. Let me ignore the decimal, and let me ignore the 0 at the left. I'm just going to write a 4. That's what I'm going to put on the top of my fraction. The bottom of my fraction will start with a 1 and some zeros. The amount of zeros depends on how many numbers after the decimal point. I only see one number after the decimal point, so only 1 0. Once again, the amount of zeros depends on how many numbers after the decimal point. 4 over 10, bless you. 4 over 10, simplify it. 4 over 10, I see that as 2 times 2. And 10, I see that as 2 times 5. So I cancel out the 2's. So I'll finish with 2 over 5. Right? Simplify your fraction. If we take a look at number 12, I'm going to start with a 75 on top. And at the bottom, I'm going to have 100. In this case, I have 2 zeros, so I have 2 decimal places. 75, I see that as 25 times 3. 100, I see that as 25 times 4. Cancel out the 25s, so I'm going to simplify it to 3 over 4. Once again, on the top, you write the number, ignore the decimals, ignore the zeros. At the left, just write it on top. And at the bottom, a 1 with some zeros. The amount of zeros depends on how many numbers after the decimal point. There'll be cases where the number on top is bigger. Let me find one of those. Take a look at number 15. On top, I'm going to have a 47. So I'm going to ignore the decimal. And on the bottom, I'm only going to have a 10. Only 1 0 because there's only one decimal place. So like I said, some cases, the number on top will be bigger. There's nothing that goes into 47 and 10. There's nothing I can cancel out. So that's already simple. 47 over 10. 17. All right. Looking at 17. On the top, I'm going to have 889. I'm going to write it without the decimals. At the bottom, I'm going to have 100. 2 zeros because there's 2 decimal places. 889 and 100, there's nothing that goes into both of them, so that's it. Okay. 18. Hold on, let me wait. This thing froze for a minute. Just remember, just as a little recap, on the top we write the number without decimals, and at the number and a 1 with some zeros. And the zeros depends on how many numbers after the decimal point. So I'm just waiting on this. It froze. There we go. So for 18, on the top, let me write 425. On the bottom, let me write 1,000, right? 3 zeros because there's 3 decimal places. 425, I can go that as 5 times 85. I know 1,000, I can also divide it by 5. I can type in a calculator 1,000 divided by 5, and it should give you 200. So cancel out the 5s. So we have 85 over 200. At least we simplified a little bit more. 85, I can write that as 5 times 17. 200, I can write that as 5 times 40. Cancel out the 5s. So I have 17 over 40. Cannot do anything more. So that's my answer, 17 over 40. Right, simplify your fractions. There is one thing, number 20. We know that little line on top means that the 7s continue. My intentions are not to cover those cases, so let's ignore the line. Look at this only as 0.7. If I do give you a line, ignore it. Like I said, my intention is not to cover it today, so let's ignore it. Bless it. So number 20, look at that as 0.7, and from here you guys can finish it. Any questions? All right, let me take a little bit of break.